All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. So this is the policy that has all of the credit agency credit cards in it. So for newer staff, maybe staff that don't have a credit card, just very briefly, we have multiple types of credit cards. Our main ones are the Orange Bank and Trust credit cards that function like a normal credit card would, where you can, use it to purchase things anywhere. Then we also have things that we refer to as store accounts. That might be our Sam's Club, our Walmart, ShopRite. At one point, I think we had a BJ's card, our Exxon cards. Although for the purposes of this, Exxon is a separate policy. So these fall under everything but Exxon. So I'm just going to briefly touch on a few of the main points, and then of course read it at your leisure. But as a highlight, one of the things you have to ensure that if you are making a purchase, that you are turning in all the required paperwork and the receipts to accounting within 72 hours after the purchase or 3 business days. So obviously, if you make a purchase on Friday, we're not going to expect you to have it in necessarily by Monday because of the weekend. But we prefer if it is the same day, if that's possible, but no later than 72 hours afterwards. Please remember that if you are the card holder, it is your responsibility to ensure that if you give the card to somebody else to use, that you are ensuring that they're adhering to this policy as well, because it's your name on the card. One of the things here that's highlighted that is new is that all credit cards must be kept securely and not left out in the open at any time. So that shouldn't just be out in, say, your office. They have to be locked up or kept on your person. So I know for me, my credit card is basically used as a ghost card, which means that anybody can go and sign it out in accounting. But those cards are in a locked filing cabinet along with multiple store account cards that can then be signed out and signed back in. So if you have an MHA credit card, you have to ensure that it is locked up. It can't just be left in a drawer on your desk unless the drawer is locking. It's got to be kept secure. The other item is around the tax exempt form. We have now put in the tax exempt form that is for 2024. Signed for 2024. I usually sign a new one that's a blank one like once a year. So a new one will go up that has my signature on it from 2025. And just as a reminder, if you fail to use the tax exempt form when you should, you may be asked to reimburse the agency. And it is important that if you tried and the vendor tells you, I won't accept that, they aren't legally required to accept it, that you're documenting that on the paperwork when you submit your packet in. Because otherwise you're going to get a follow-up from accounting. So just as kind of a preventative measure, we do ask that you document why. That they may not have accepted it or whatever the case might be. As a reminder, if you ever lose your credit card, you must notify the finance department and your supervisor immediately. Other things that you may want to notify us of is if it's declined. We always ask that staff members call the number on the back of their Orange Bank and Trust credit card first, because it's possible that maybe you've reached your credit limit and that's why it's declining. It's possible that the credit card company flagged one of your purchases as a fraudulent purchase and maybe it's not. And they could have blocked your card for that reason. And so you just need to have them take off the block and confirm the purchase. Any of those reasons could be why it's declining. So we ask you to kind of do that little due diligence first. And if it's none of those things, reach out to accounting and notify your supervisor. Okay. Any questions on that, or just on the credit card policy overall, or credit cards in general?
Jenny, I have a question. I know
Yeah.
you just finance is always very reasonable because there's always these exceptions, but just as guidance, say you made a purchase, and I have had the experience where someone says you have to pay the tax up front, but you can reach out with your tax certificate to like this email and we'll refund you. And now I'm
Yeah.
waiting for refund paperwork, which sometimes can lengthen that 72-hour window to maybe another day or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you prefer that it all come in together together, like the purchase and the refund if I'm expecting a tax refund? Or would we wait and do that all as one submission and just give you a heads up that we have an outstanding charge?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It probably has to come down to timing. Sometimes those tax refunds can take weeks.
Yeah.
So what probably would be best practice is to submit your initial paperwork, but when you're filling out the form, you show that this is the charge, this is the tax, and it's expected to be refunded by the vendor. Like you put a little note on the paperwork and then you total it out so it matches the receipt back up. That way it's very clear to accounting that we're expecting another charge, although it's a credit against your credit card.
Should I
Then
also like
that paperwork should be refunded. Like we may ask for you to fill out the paperwork showing that it actually did come through. Because it's
Mhm.
possible they never actually refund it,
Yeah.
but then it's
It
flagged and the follow-up can happen from there.
That makes sense. Should I include proof that I requested that refund so accounting has that on file at least?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
If you have it, sometimes you're not going to.
Yes. Yeah, true. Another thing, just as a fun point that I found out because my card was declined once, and it was on a weekend that I got the notification because I just happened to be checking my email. And I did learn that you can set up an online account so you can actually see the charges for your card in addition to calling them. They suggested I do that so I could see what was going on as we were talking and going through because it turned out my card had been stolen and had been flagged, and thankfully nothing went through. So anyway, I just found that really helpful so I can go back and look at charges, and make sure, live time
Okay,
was fun, easy.
very good. Anyone else have any questions or concerns or follow-up on what was reviewed? All right, that's all we got from accounting.